Yo, I would like to welcome you to the very first ever DJ tutorial done by myself, DJ Jimmie Hustle of Dreamwalking Entertainment on this Hustle and Spin YouTube channel. I am so excited to share my knowledge with you guys and help you guys get on the right track. This right here is for all the beginner DJs, and we're going to start from the bottom and then we're going to work our way all the way up. So I hope you guys are ready. We're going to talk about the controller, we're going to talk about the DJ software, and we're just going to have some fun learning how to mix music. So I hope you guys are ready. Let's jump into it. All right, so let's talk about the DJ controller. The DJ controller. Now, we already know that DJ controllers come in different sizes and they have different little buttons on them. They all look fancy and all that kind of stuff. But you must remember that all controllers do the same thing. They just do it in different ways. That is it. They're just like cars. All cars are built pretty much differently. They all have different features on them. But at the end of the day, you need a car to do what? Get from point A to point B. And that's just like a DJ controller. So do not get hung up on the bigger controllers that have all the fancy buttons on them. When you are beginning, you do not need all of that. Trust me, you don't. I have two controllers. I have a really big one and I have a small one that I'm going to use today, and I use both of them. And they all come in handy for different occasions and stuff like that. So do not knock the small controller. I'm going to show you how to get down on the small controller. And this one cost me around 300 bucks when the big one cost me around $2,600. Okay? So you don't want to do that right now. Definitely when you are learning, when you are beginning. So this controller that we're going to work on today is definitely something that you can learn on and get your feet wet with, and also get better at DJing with. So let's jump into this controller right here. So this is the Pioneer DDJ-FL64 Performance DJ Controller. And like I said, this is a lot of fun to use. This is my favorite controller to use when I want to get in and out of an event. And it is a very, very beginner-friendly DJ controller. So you want to make sure that you use this USB-C to USB-C cable that comes with the unit. You want to plug it into the port that has the computer icon on the back. If you plug it into the one that has the electric plug icon on it, it's going to power up the system, but it's not going to operate your computer. And you're going to get mad and wonder what's wrong. So make sure that you plug this into the computer icon port. So once you plug that in, you're going to plug the other end into your computer. And then on the opposite side, you will see the RCA output jacks that you can plug RCA cables in. And you can also plug your like your studio monitors or any speaker that uses RCA cables or something like that. Also a external mixer as well. And then you have your microphone port. That's all the way on the end where you can plug in your microphone, and you can get going. You can get going. All right, so let's dig into the front of the controller. Now, when you look at the controller, you can also see that the headphone jack is right there by your leg on the left-hand side. But right here on the top, we're just going to talk about a couple of the buttons right here. This is pretty much explanatory. This is the mic level button, so you can adjust your mic volume here. You can also adjust the headphone volume here. And you can also adjust the cue. So the cue is the music that you hear in your headphones that you have queuing up. And you can hit these buttons to cue the left side or to cue the right side. And the halfway mark is where you hear both the cue, the song that you hear in your headphones, and the master. And that is the song that you hear out, that's being played out. So that's how DJs are able to mix songs together in their headphones. Now, when you look at the left and right side, you can see that both sides looks pretty much similar. And that's because they do the exact same thing, just on the left and the right side are deck 1 and deck 2. So like I said, we're going to talk about a couple of the buttons, but not all. I just want to talk about the ones to get us started in the video. So when you look right here, these buttons right here, this is the cue button, and this is where you can hear the song in your headphones, like cue up a song. So if I hit the Q button, it's going to play that song on the left side. And when I let it go, it's going to stop and bring it right back to the beginning of the track. So when I press Q and hold it, it's going to play the song, and then I let it go. It's going to take it back to the beginning. And that's the cue. The other part is the play and pause button. Now with this button, if I hit play, it's going to play the song. But when I hit it again, it's going to pause it. But it's going to leave it right where I left it off at. So make sure that you do what you want it to do. Because when you hit play and you hit it again, it's going to pause the track, but it's going to leave it right where it was at. So you're going to have to manually bring it back to the beginning, because if you decide to hit the Q button instead, it's going to queue up that portion like that. It's going to queue that part where you left off at when you hit play and pause, and you may not want that. So in order to get rid of that, I believe you hit shift, hold shift, press it. It'll bring it right back to the beginning of the track, and you can do it just like that. You hit Q, it'll bring it right back right at the beginning. So make sure that you pay attention to that, because you'll get mad later on. So press and hold Q, let it go. Whenever you get done with listening to the track, and it'll bring it right back to the beginning or right where you queued it up at. So you also have the shift button here on both sides. You can press and hold shift, and you can hit this button called tempo range. And when you do that, it's going to change the range of the pitch. So if you look on the Serato screen, you'll see the pitch is on plus or minus 8%. You can change that range by holding shift and pressing this master tempo range button here. So when you hold shift, hit it, it'll change it to 16, and then it'll change it to plus or minus 50. And that's the highest I believe you can go. And you really don't need to go no higher than that, trust me. But it'll go all the way up to 50, plus or minus 50. And that is the tempo range, so you can speed up or slow down the track. And we're going to get into that later on. Now, moving back to the controller board, you can see that the button right here called CFX, this is the low pan frequency and the high pan frequency. And you can change that with this knob. So what that is when you play the track, when I move it to the left, it takes out all the frequencies except for the low frequency, so the bass line and all that, the kick drum. And you move that halfway, it'll go back to original. And then when I move it to the right, it'll play nothing but the high pan frequencies. So all the high frequencies here, it'll cancel all the other frequencies when you do this here. So you have the frequency for the highs. This is where you can take it out or increase it. And the same, this is the mids here, the mid frequencies, so like the vocals and things like that, all the instruments and stuff like that. Then you have the low frequencies, which is pretty much the bass of the track, and all the low frequencies is that. So simply put, this is pretty much the bass line here, and you will use that a lot when you're mixing. So this is pretty much the low frequencies, the bass line. The mids are the vocals, instruments, and things like that. And the highs are the high frequencies like the snares and things like that. So this is pretty much all the elements of the music. So you can take out different parts of the track or of the frequencies of the song. This right here is the trim. This is pretty much the gain or the volume of the track, the individual track that's played on that side. And then you have the master level that is the gain of the whole thing, like all the music that's coming out of the controller itself. So moving on to this is the load button here. This is where you load the track. And this right here is this dial right here is where you can control your computer. So if you're looking on a computer, I can actually move and select the different track that I want. So looking at my screen here, if I want Rick James Cold Blooded on the left side, I would turn the dial till it gets to that point, and then select it by hitting the load button here, and it will load that track. And now I'm able to play Rick James Cold Blooded on that track. Same thing with the right side. I just pick the song that I want. If I want Cheryl Lynn Got to Be Real, I just choose the right load button, load it up, and there you go. It's on the right side. Pop. And I'm able to play it. So that's how you can use and pick the songs that you want on your controller. You don't have to touch the laptop. For me, myself, I use both. Sometimes I use it on the controller, and then sometimes I just go on the computer and do it myself. So it all depends on how you want to do it. There's no right or wrong way, as long as you get the job done. So that is what this is right here. Like I said, you got your hot cue points here where you can choose different parts of the song. You have these cue points here. These are not cue points. These are cues that you can hear the song in your headphones. So if I choose this, I will hear the song in my headphones. And you turn it off by just hitting it again. And once it's not highlighted or lit up, you won't be able to hear it. Same thing with the right side. And just like that, if you want to hear what's coming out of the speakers, coming out of your speakers or the master volume, you can cue it up here. You hit that cue button, and you'll be able to hear what's being played out. So in order to mix the songs, you would probably need to cue this up, or you would need to cue this up and cue up either side that you are trying to mix together. Just make sure that it's not being played out. So if I was playing the left, if I was getting ready to play the left side, this would be down, and I would have this lit up. So I could be able to hear both sides, the master and this side right here. And I'll be able to mix it up in my headphones. All right. So that is the main thing that I want to show you guys today. Don't want to make this video too long because we got a lot to learn, and we're going to talk about it later on in the future. So let's move on to the Serato software. Now, when you're looking at the software, you will see on the top left-hand corner, you see this right here says horizontal. And all that is the beat waveform here. You see it's going to play in the horizontal direction. So it's going to play from left to right. And you can change that if you don't like it. You can change it to vertical. And it'll start from the bottom to the top. So you can change it if you don't like it. You can change it to something different. But as for me, I like it horizontal. So that's what I do. So that's what that is. Now moving on, like I said, I'm going to show you the main functions so you can get started. This right here is the record function where you are able to record your tracks. So if you wanted to record your mix, you just hit record. And this here is the levels, so you can make sure your levels are nice and good and playing right. But you hit record, it's going to start recording, and you can start doing your mix. Right here is the FX feature here. This is all your sound effects here. If you hit this drop down, it'll show you all these sound effects that you can choose. My favorite is clean echo out, so I'm using that. But you can look here and it'll show you all your effects. And then, what is this here? All right, this right here is your samplers. This is where you put all your sample effects. So any effect that you want and you want to have at a push of a button, you would put it in these slots. You would just drag it in these slots. And once you drag it in those slots, it will show up on your controller. And then you can push those sound effects anytime you want. So moving on, the next thing you want to make sure that you do, that I've already done, is you want to go into your settings, which is this gear right here. This is all your DJ preferences, so you can look through those and you can change a lot of things to your liking. This is pretty much my setup, default setup. You want to make sure this is on 24-bit. And if you don't like the sync function, you can turn that off if you like. I don't see why you would do that, but hey. But this is everything you can change to your liking. This is the audio here. So you want to make sure that your buffer size latency is set to one or two, and you'll be straight. And like I said before, make sure that your computer speakers are checked on to make sure that you are able to hear the music coming out of your laptop speakers if you do not have DJ speakers or studio monitors. So after that, you want to get out of this by checking the settings or the gear icon so you can get back to the operator screen. And I just want to share with you a couple of these things. These two buttons here are on the left and right side. These are the stem function. This right here is the stem function. It's also a feature where you are able to take out the instruments, the instrumental track, or you can turn it into a acapella track by just clicking these buttons. So once you click the button, it'll play nothing but the vocals. And if you play or click this button, it will play nothing but the music in the track and not the vocals. So just to show you what that looks like really quick. All right, that's the beat right there. That's just the beat. And that's just the vocals. All right. Very, very nice. Very, very nice feature. Very nice feature. That way you can do some nice mixes on the fly and do it live, and you don't have to try to do something at your home where you are able to do it with another piece of software or something. You can do it right here in this software at the click of a button. So that is very nice. Very, very nice. These color buttons here are the cue points that we have queued up already. I had mine queued at different parts of the song, at the beginning of the track, and when the vocals come in, and another part of the track as well. I don't know what part that is, but it don't matter. But these are the different cue points that I set for myself, and they are all color coded. So the more cue points you have, that's where they show up right here in this section. So that's where you will see that. And it's just like your controller as well. So moving on, these right here are your loop features here. You can loop different parts of the track or the track you want. And the loop can be as long as you want it to be. And these are all beat counted. And we're going to get into that right now. All right, so now we're going to talk about beat counting and beats per minute. Now, with beat counting, you have two ways that you could count beats. And one is the more common way, and it is used by musicians and artists. And they pretty much count the notes. So when you hear a musician count, they'll count like this. All right. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what they're doing is they're counting the kick drum or the bass line and the snare part of the track. And both of those represent a note. So they're doing 1, 2, 3, 4. When they hit 4, that represents a whole bar or a whole note. So when you hear people talk about bars, that's what they're talking about. So, you got 4 bars, 8 bars, stuff like that. So on the flip side of that, you have the way that DJs count, and DJs just count the beat. So they count actually beats per minute. So, or BPM is what you hear people say a lot. So with that, they are counting each and every beat. And on top of that, they are also counting to the tempo of the track. So that's why the BPMs are different. So the faster the track, the more beats within that minute. So that's how you get the beats per minute. So when DJs hear a track, they hear this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they just keep counting. You're continuously counting. You're not counting bars. So the more beats, the higher the count. So like I said, I just did 8, so let's do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Just like that. Now, it's very important when you are looping the track and when you are counting the beats that you want to like separate within the track. So when you're looking at the software and you see the numbers down here on the left and right side, those are loop points. So if I want to loop a certain part, I just click on that part or click on that beat count and it will loop that one part. So let's do what we was doing before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, you see how that started over right there, that 8 count? So that's what I'm doing right there. So normally hooks usually last between 16 to 32 beat counts. So remember that if you're trying to loop a hook point on the fly, it's pretty much 32 if you're trying to do a full hook. But some hooks are shorter and they usually last around 16. So remember that. So next we're going to talk about beat matching. And this is where we dive into the mixing part or the mixing aspect of music. So if you look at the Serato software, you will see on the left side, I have the Maria soundtrack by Santana. And on the right side, I have the Cooped Up Return of the Mac remix with Post Malone and Mark Morrison. So as you can see right now, I have the Maria track at the original BPM or beats per minute tempo, which is 97.9. And on the right side, the Cooped Up Return of the Mac remix track is at 95.5 BPM. So, do you think by looking at this screen that these tracks will match up together and sound good? Let's find out. Bop, 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 bop. They sound a very, very hot mess. A big old hot mess. They do not line up together. So, in order to fix that, you would need to either slow down the Maria track or speed up the Cooped Up remix track. And just by hearing that, if I was already playing the Maria track, I would speed up the Cooped Up track. And it is at Maria is at 97.9, so I would need to move the Cooped Up track BPM to 97.9. Now, when I do that, and say the Maria track is already playing, and I mix it together like that, they are staying on point. Just like that. Now, they are syncing up on top of that. So that's what we're focusing on right now, not the actual sound of the track for right now. But if I wanted to like fix that up, I would just take the lows out of one of the tracks to make sure that they blend in. So just to make sure, bop, 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 bop. See that? See how better that sounds? That sounds pretty good. Yep. So they sound on point, right? They sound very synced up. So if you don't like me talking in the music, that's because I don't want no copyright issues. So you're gonna have to get over that. But you heard it in its essence, man. They pretty much line up together, and that's what you want to focus on when mixing music. So, like I said, you want to make sure that the BPMs lined up, the beats per minute are exactly the same, and that way you will make sure that they are synced up together. So to go over this really quick, say I was doing this in the real world or at a gig, and I was playing the Maria track, and I want to mix in the Cooped Up remix. What I would do is, I would, of course, set my BPM to the exact same BPM of the Maria track. And then I would usually mix in another song when the Maria track gets to the guitar part. So when he's playing the guitar, I'll mix in another song. And when I get to the part where I want to mix in, I will take out the lows of the track and I will play the next track that I'm going to play. So it will look like this and sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. So As you can hear, I was a little off, but it's all right. It's all right. I'm gonna show you how to fix that as well. So if you're looking at the decks and so for some reason you're off, you can fix that by using your finger and just slowly moving this to the side, or you can quickly do it. No, it depends on how much you're off. So let's just say I was doing that again. So I would hear that, and it's off. I just move to the side like this and get it back to where it's supposed to be, just like that. And now it sounds good. Now it sounds like it's supposed to. So you just use your finger to bump it up and get it back to where you want it to be at. So if it sounds off, you already see your BPMs are exactly the same, so it shouldn't be a problem there. Your timing might be off when you hit the button. That is it. So if you were at a gig and you wanted to fix that, you just use your finger on the side here and just keep moving it until it catches up, and you'll be straight. You will be straight. So I know we didn't talk about it earlier, so let's get into it real quick. Like I say, these are the jog wheels, and you can bump it up by putting your finger in one of these notches. Just keep moving it, and you can bump up the track to get it in line. And the top of the platter, like I said, they're just like the old school DJs where they were scratching. You can use the top of them to scratch, just like that. So that's what the jog wheels are for. These are called jog wheels, and that's what they're used for. So that is how you beat match. Now, I did have someone that asked me about a certain song, so let's jump into that. Let's do it. So now I have two tracks that was requested by a viewer. They wanted to know if they could mix these two songs together. So I listened to Brandy, I Want to Be Down, and then I listened to another track, and we're going to talk about these two tracks that I just heard last night. So we're going to mix these two songs together. We're going to see what that sounds like, and I'm going to show you how we can make this happen. So let's dig into that. So if you look at the Serato software, you will see on the left-hand side, we have Brandy, I Want to Be Down, and that's at 86 beats per minute. And then if you look on the right side, you see a track called Kingdom by an artist named Aaliyah Lara. It's a very good song, I must say. That is also at 99 beats per minute. So as you can see, there's a huge gap between both songs as far as beats per minute goes. So just looking at that, you already know that these songs would not sound good together if you just press play. That does not mean you cannot mix these two songs together. So I'm going to show you guys how we could do that and how I would try to do that in the real world. Is one of two things that you could do. You could speed up the Brandy track to 99 beats per minute, or you can slow down the Aaliyah Laura track to 86 beats per minute. What I would suggest is you slow down the Aaliyah Laura track to 86 beats per minute, or you can speed up both tracks a little bit, maybe speed up the Brandy track to 87 or 88, maybe 87, and then the Leolara track we're going to speed up to 87. So that's what I would do in the real world. So we have the Brandy track at 86 beats per minute, and I'm going to slow down the Aaliyah Laura track to 86 beats per minute, like so. So you have both tracks at 86 beats per minute. So you would have the Brandy track playing just like that. And before we get into that, some other things that you would need to do is, you see these icons right here, the ones I talked to you about the stems. You would want to click on this piano stem right here. When you click that, it will play nothing but the music, nothing but the beat. It will not play any vocals of the track. And that's what we want, because we're going to mix this beat with this song right here. And with the Aaliyah Laura track, we're going to hit the microphone icon, and that represents playing nothing but the acapella. So you're playing nothing but the vocals out of that track. So we're going to mix the Brandy beat with the Aaliyah Laura Kingdom track, the vocals of that track. So what we're going to do is with the Aaliyah Laura track, I don't know if you ever heard the song before, but it's a pretty good song. Please check it out in its fullness. But what I did is I queued it up to the part right before she starts singing. So where the beat drops right before she starts singing, that's where I queued it up at. And the Brandy track is going to play, and I'm going to play the Kingdom track right where the beat drops, where I want the Kingdom acapella to come in. That's what I'm gonna do. So with that being said, I played the Brandy track. It's playing. Bop, 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 bop. Hey, hey, no copyright over here. That's how we do it. That's why I'm talking through the track. And it's riding like this, and it's riding like that, of the intro of the beat. All right, now here we go. This is where we about to drop the Kingdom track. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop. Uh-huh. Uh, 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 uh. All right, now you heard that, right? You heard that. Now, when you listen to the original track of the Kingdom track, like I said before, when you slow down a track and you slow down beyond plus or minus 5 BPM, it's going to take the pitch and it's going to make it sound slower or a higher pitch. So what I did with the Kingdom track was I brought it and I slowed it down. So now her voice sounds really, really low. And that is not how she sounds at all. That's not how she sounds. So we got to fix that. And the cool thing about this software, you can fix that. So what we're going to do is turn on this feature called the master tempo. And that is, when you look on the screen, it's this music note icon right here. You would highlight that, and what that does is it will make sure that the pitch does not change when you play the song, no matter how slow you make it. The pitch will always stay the same, and the artist will always have the same tone or the same pitch throughout the whole song, no matter if you bring it high or bring it low. Whether you slow it down or speed it up, it will always have the same pitch. Very important, very important. So you want to make sure this is highlighted, and you can also do this on your controller as well. So you will highlight this music note. So we're going to try this again. Play the Brandy track. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, hey, hey. Like I said, no copyright over here. So we're going to talk over the track like this. This is the intro of the Brandy track. A1, A1, 2, 3. Here we go. And drop. All right, make sure it's lined up. Yep. Hey, hey, hey. Right. Hey, 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 hey. 1, hey, Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Drop and drop and drop and. Hey, yo will be done. Hey, hey. Sound pretty good to me. Hey, 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 hey. As you can see, both BPMs are the same. Hey, hey. All right, and that's what it is, man. That's how it should sound, all lined up, sounding good, sounding great. Now, would I do this in the real world? I do not know, because the Kingdom song is really, really slow, and you can kind of hear it dragging a little bit. So that is where your creative instinct needs to kick in. So it may sound all right in some aspects, and some aspects it won't. In this case, I wouldn't do that, because the BPMs is too large of a gap in between. It's way too much. So I kind of wouldn't do this unless you could like fix that drag. But like I said, it's a huge gap. It's a very huge gap. Um, but you could probably play with it just a little bit if you really wanted to make this mix. But with that huge gap, I don't know. But that is how it sounded. It didn't sound bad, but I don't know if I would do that due to that large gap of BPMs. So that is my take on that mix. But like I said, man, you can do so many things with these songs, man. And I'm gonna give you guys one more mix before we get out, man. So let's jump into that. All right, so the second mix I'm gonna do for you guys is two songs I already chose. On the left side is Daddy Yankee Gasolina, the remix with Lil Jon in them. And then on the right side, you got DJ Snake featuring Lil Jon, Turn Down for What. As you can see, Turn Down for What is at 100 BPM, and Gasolina is at 96 BPM. So, like I said, you can either slow down Turn Down for What to 96, or you can speed up gasolina to 100. So in this case, what I'm going to do is, let's just say I was already playing gasolina and it was at 99 to 100, which is something that I usually do. I don't usually play it at the original BPM, usually around 100. So let's just say I'm playing gasolina and then I'm going to bring in turn down for what? So what it would do, it would sound like this. Hey, you got my gasolina, got it by gasolina. Fire me now, and everybody shout, turn down for what? All right, and then you keep the party going just like that, just like that. So just to show you guys what I did was this. I had gasolina playing, and then I took out the lows of gasolina and I brought in turn down for what. Now when you start out turn down for what, it does not have a bass line or anything. It just has straight highs just like that. So I took out the lows and brought in turn down for what, and then I slowly hit the high pan filter so it transitioned out and then moved over to turn down for what. So, like I said before, this brings nothing but the high pan filter. It just brings in all the highs. It takes out all the lows, and then just to make it cleaner, I lowered this fader to take that out altogether. And then you had nothing but turn down for what. So to do it really quick, just to show you guys again, gasolina is playing, is riding, then I'm gonna put in turn down for what. So it's gasolina is playing. Gasolina, boom, gotta gasolina, gotta buy gasoline. Here we go. So just like that, just like that. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Just like that. Y'all already know the song. I don't need to play all of it. But that is how you fade it out, man. That is how you fade it out. So like I said, I took out the loads of gasolina and then I put on turn out for what. So it was a nice transition. Then I did the high pan filter on that just to make it sound even better. And then I lowered the fader to take it all the way out altogether to move on to turn down for what song. And like I said before, as long as you make sure that the BPMs are the same, you shouldn't have any problems with matching the track up unless you are off a little bit with with the starting point of the next song, which you can easily fix by moving the jog wheel to get it back in line. So it takes a little bit of practice. It takes a little bit of practice, guys. So please practice. Please do that. And if you have any questions, put it in the comments and hopefully I can address them in the next video. But make sure that you practice. Make sure that you understand the beat counting and the BPMs, because that's going to be a major, major thing as you start your DJ journey. That is the foundation. If you don't learn how to mix, you might as well hang it up. Mixing is everything, not scratching or anything like that. Scratching is nothing but the icing on the cake, man. But mixing is everything. Mixing is the foundation. You got to get the mixing down first. So please, please practice. Please practice. Practice makes prepared. Understand beat counting, understand BPMs, and I will see you guys on the next video, all right? Peace.